All right, let's take a look to see how they perpetrated this fiction upon us and how they have changed the land of the free into the land of Oz. It was done with the 14th Amendment, and the 14th Amendment was written originally, it was ratified in 1868, but it was written originally to transfer the ownership of the slaves from the Southerners ultimately to the federal government. And eventually, of course, they've convinced everybody that they were a citizen, and over time, they became subjects to the United States, the corporation. But let's look to see how they've done this. The 14th Amendment says, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the states wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the law. At first glance, this does look pretty good, but we have to carefully look at the words to see once what they might have done. The word person under U.S. Code 26, that's Title 26, subsection 7701, we find that the term person shall be construed to mean and to include an individual, a trust, an estate, a partnership, an association, a company, or corporation. There's nothing here that identifies with the word natural, one of the natural people or a natural person. This is an artificial person, and it identifies ultimately with a corporation. The word United States in U.S. Code 26, again, 3121, we read the term United States, when used in the geographical sense, includes the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, Guam, and the American Samoa. Nowhere again do you see the 50 states of the Union. They're identifying ultimately with the District of Columbia or the territories of the United States. The word subject or citizen. The word subject or citizen is defined as such. It owes an absolute and permanent allegiance to his government or sovereign until he becomes a citizen or a subject of another government or another sovereign. The aliens owes a local and temporary allegiance during period of his residence. And this is a definition that was given in a U.S. Supreme Court ruling. So to be a subject or a citizen is to own allegiance to a government or a sovereign. And at this point, it's ultimately to a group of people who are called the elite who see themselves as the sovereign and the owners of the corporation and therefore the owner of you. The word state, in again Title 26, we read the term state includes the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, Guam, and the American Samoa. Again, we don't see anywhere in here the 50 states. And this is the defining of ultimately the Title 26. This is the terms that define the words that are used. So when you go to court, we have to be very careful to define our words whenever we're talking with these people. To reside identifies with residence. Where is your residence? Residence simply requires bodily presence as an inhabitant in a given place, while domicile requires bodily presence in that place and also an intention to make it one's domicile. So to be a resident is someone that's in transit, and that's why they call you a resident of the state of New York. You're not really from New York from their perspective. You're a resident of New York. You're in transit. You're just there on some business, and when you finish your business, you're going to go back to your home, and your home is the United States or the corporation, the District of Columbia, or the territories. How you want to look at it, ultimately the territories. And the territories are owned by the elite, and it's a private corporation. So they're really transferring everything over from the United States as we appreciate it and understand it to a corporate United States, the way they appreciate it and understand it, and eventually will take ownership through corporations, and therein is the New World Order. Laws, civil law, which they've hidden under admiralty law, which is called for in the Constitution, and of course it's maritime law. It has nothing to do with the people here in the United States. It's the business out at sea and waterways and so on. But in any event, it is the civil law that they put in place to put us into submission to them, also known as Justinian law. We read, for instance, a court which has a very extensive jurisdiction of maritime causes, civil and criminal, controversies arising out of acts done upon or relating to the sea, and questions of prize. So again, this is relating to maritime law, but this is the fraud that they perpetrated among the people, upon the people. Whenever you go into a town court, you are under admiralty law. You'll see fringes on the flag that identifies them with admiralty law. Unfortunately, they've also turned all of our courts to admiralty law. When you go in, they bring you into their fiction, and all of the minions of the New World Order, which are lawyers, they have been trained to bring upon the people statutes and as law. They actually believe that statutes are law. They actually believe that common law is the thing of the past. It's passé, and it has nothing to do with us, and they don't want no part of it because they've been trained thoroughly into statutory law. Fiction. This is what brought us into the land of Oz, and the definition of fiction by a U.S. Supreme Court ruling is something known to be false is assumed to be true. And that's a fiction, and it exists in our reality. It exists in our courts. It exists in the United States. Fiction of law, an assumption or supposition of law, something which is or may be false is true, or that a state of facts exists which has never really taken place. Again, this is a definition from a U.S. Supreme Court ruling. Fiction of law, again, an assumption for a purpose of justice, purpose of their justice in their courts. They call it justice, it's injustice, but an assumption for the purpose of their justice of facts that does not or may not exist. Again, another definition from the U.S. Supreme Court. So these people up on the higher levels, they understand exactly what's going on. The people down in the trial levels, the bottom feeders, they're just useful idiots. They have no clue. They're just true believers of statutory law. And they've been taught, I'm sure, some lie in their schooling on how defunct common law is, and it just doesn't work, and we, the government, have to take care of the people, and they have to create this law. Acceptance. Silence is acquiescence. Black's Law. Reality or fiction. United States of America is a government by and for the people. United States is a corporation owned by the elite. The United States of America was founded on common law. The United States is founded on statutes, fiction of law. The United States of America is a republic. The United States is a democracy. The United States of America is made up of 50 states, each one owned by the people, creates a nation. The United States is a country, it's U.S. territory owned by the elite. People ordain and establish the Constitution for the United States of America, the preamble. Citizens are created by the 14th Amendment. They are under the Constitution, under the Bill of Rights, and the authority is the United States. All citizens of the United States are subject to the laws of the United States, created by the elite. People are sovereign, and their name is identified as being sovereign, uppercase first letter, lowercase the rest of the letters. Persons or corporations owned by the elite, they have your name in bold letters and in caps, all caps. New York, or Florida, or California, or whatever state you may be in, that's your government owned by the people. The people rule themselves, and again, that is this New York State. The state of New York is a corporation owned by the elite. Your county, maybe Orange County, Monroe County, whatever county you might be living in, is owned by the people. County of Orange County, Monroe, County of Orange, County of Monroe, that's the corporation owned by the elite. You are either a citizen of your state or you're a citizen of the United States. When you're in a legal situation, like in court, you want to be very careful not to use that word citizen at all, even though you are a citizen of New York and you're a sovereign citizen. Our founding fathers spoke of this. But nevertheless, they have captured that and changed the meaning of that word, and it would be very dangerous to use the word citizen in a court, so you want to refer to yourself as the people, one of the people of your state. You are domiciled in your state. It's the place where you live, so you're domiciled. If you're a resident of your state, you're just here on business, and you're actually part of the corporation. You're actually a citizen under U.S. territory. Sovereigns are free, subjects are slaves under the 14th Amendment. Sovereigns are above the Constitution. They are the people ordained and established. People found the U.S. Constitution. Citizens are founded by the Constitution under the 14th Amendment. People have unalienable rights from God. Citizens have privileges from the corporation, the United States. Common law comes from God. Civil or admiralty law comes from Babylon, also known as Justinian law. The owner of the land is God. Under the United States, the owner of the land is the New World Order. Reality is the way one perceives it. As long as people believe they are a citizen and believe that Oz is the reality, the fiction has power. Sending people to Washington or to your state capital cannot fix this problem. We need to wake up. Only the people can nullify the fiction and take back the republic.